not sure what show this is from, so if you're a fan or you know, like, let me know. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Let's exploit an insecure FTP server. My name's Ash, I'm a cybersecurity enthusiast, and on today's video, we're going to be going over a Try Hack Me room called Bounty Hacker, and we're going to use insecure FTP to exploit with a web server to gain access. So if that sounds fun, let's get into it. Okay, so we're on Try Hack Me, and we've navigated to Bounty Hacker. Now, I'm not sure what show this is from, so if you're a fan or you know, like, let me know. So let's go ahead and select Start Machine. So we've got here, you were boasting on and on about your elite hacker skills in a bar, and a few bounty hunters decided they'd take you up on your claims. Prove your status is more than just a few glasses at the bar. I sense bell peppers and beef in your future. Yeah, this makes no sense to me. All right, first we've got deploy the machine. Next, we've got find open ports. Let's make sure that we can see access via the VPN. Cool. Next, let's grab our IP and make sure we can see that. Awesome. Then let's start off with a Rust scan like we normally do. There we see our FTP server we was talking about earlier, followed by SSH and HTTP. Cool, so we'll run this again. And while that scan's happening, let's navigate over to our port 80. It looks like we have a back and forth with, I guess, some of the characters from this show anime. So this is just further around the bar fight or argument that we were showing off. We see some of the same text. These characters also might be usernames we could use, so we can keep that in mind. If we go over to the view source, doesn't look like there's anything out of interest here. But if we go back to our Nmap results from Rust scan, we do have a massive vulnerability here. Anonymous FTP login is allowed. So let's use our FTP client. I'm gonna go -A because I find that helps with some passive thing. I'm gonna log in as anonymous, and we're in. So we can list out our files. So we have a logs.txt and a tasks.txt. So I'm gonna use multiple get star, and then we can just specify, yeah, give me the files. Yes, give me the files. Okay, let's explore these files in a little bit more detail. So both are just ASCII text, not very long. Let's just go ahead and cat them both out. So log.txt looks like just a bunch of random things, maybe passwords. And then task.txt, protect vicious, plan for red eye, pick up on the moon. Lynn, again. I think that these are due with the show. I have no idea what these mean. I'm seeing lots of like dragon syndicate things in here, but we have our first user. That's definitely a username that we can use. And then it looks like we've got a password dictionary list here that we can use to try and brute force perhaps. All right, so let's take a step back and go over our tasks here. So we did find some open ports, so we'll tick that off. Who wrote the task list? Well, we saw that as Lynn. And we've got what service can you brute force with the text file found? Okay, so we had FTP, which we already have access to, so I'm not going to really be that. HTTP doesn't actually fit, plus why would we brute force into that? So really the only other one was SSH. Okay, so let's figure out a way to brute force into SSH, and we're gonna try and find this user passwords. So given what we've got, it looks like it's on this list. So the tool for the job is Hydra, a very fast network login cracker which supports many services. So quick scroll down, we can see here what it supports, and right there is SSH. So once we type this all out, make sure it's a lowercase l for our one user. Uppercase L would be a list of users, just like we've got an uppercase P or the list of passwords in this file. But if that was lowercase p, then it would just be one password, which would just be logs.txt if that was the password. All right, there's our IP of our machine specifying the protocol, and we're gonna see the outputs. Let's go. Since it's a pretty short list, didn't really take that long. We've got our password. Give that a copy, chuck that into Try Hack Me. With this newfound information, let's use our SSH, log in as Lynn over our machine IP, go yes, and then we'll paste in the password that we just found. Sweet, we're in. Logged in as Lynn. We're in the desktop currently. CD home. List everything out. Looks like we have a pretty normal desktop, like from Ubuntu. We've got documents and downloads and that sort of thing. Let's just list out the contents of everything in here. And in the desktop, there is our user.txt. Great, so we can go ahead and cat that out. We'll give that a copy, and then we'll go ahead and paste that in Try Hack Me. And lastly, let's get root access, or at least something as root, so we can see our flag. All right, the best thing to always try and do is run sudo-l. I do know the password. Okay, so we've got the ability to run as root tar. So if we look up the man page for tar, this is an archiving utility. You might have downloaded something for Ubuntu or a Linux distro that was in a .tar format, so it's a compression. So we can see it stores and extracts files from a tape or disk archive .tar. All right, so we can run this, as sudo. How the heck do we do anything with it? So let's look up gtfo bin tar, and we can see here that we do have an entry. So we can gain shell access, read some files, write some files, but this is what I'm interested in. We can access the file system, escalate, or maintain privilege. Give that a copy, paste her in, just like that. We've switched over to root. So we can see here that that was executing bin shell. That's giving us a shell, but since we ran that as sudo, that's upgraded us to the shell. So some things are pretty easy once we know where to look. And we can see here we've got our root.txt. Whoops, can't spell. Okay, there is our root.txt. So we can paste that in, and there we go. There is Bounty Hacker. Awesome. So thanks guys again for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. Up on the screen, you're going to see a link to the last Try Hack Me walkthrough I did. Definitely worth going to check that out if you haven't already. Appreciate your support on the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.